These new capabilities can prevent mass killing, and ensure that peace agreements are more than words on paper. But we have to do it together. Together, we must strengthen our collective capacity to establish security where order has broken down. And to support those who seek a just and lasting peace. Nowhere is our commitment to international order more tested than in Syria. When a dictator slaughters tens of thousands of his own people. That is not just a matter of one nation's internal affairs, it breeds human suffering on an order of magnitude that affects us all. Likewise, when a terrorist group beheads captives, slaughters the innocent and enslaves women. That's not a single nation's national security problem, that is an assault on all humanity. I've said before and I will repeat, there is no room for accommodating an apocalyptic cult like ISIL. And the United States makes no apologies for using our military, as part of a broad coalition, to go after them. We do so with a determination to ensure that there will never be a safe haven for terrorists who carry out these crimes. And we have demonstrated over more than a decade of relentless pursuit of Al-Qaeda. We will not be outlasted by extremists. But while military power is necessary, it is not sufficient to resolve the situation in Syria. Lasting stability can only take hold when the people of Syria forge an agreement to live together peacefully. The United States is prepared to work with any nation, including Russia and Iran, to resolve the conflict. But we must recognize that there cannot be, after so much bloodshed, So much carnage, a return to the pre-war status quo. Let's remember how this started. Assad reacted to peaceful protests by escalating repression and killing that. In turn, created the environment for the current strife. And so Assad and his allies cannot simply pacify the broad majority of a population who have been brutalized by chemical weapons and indiscriminate bombing. Yes, realism dictates that compromise will be required to end the fighting and ultimately stamp out ISIL. But realism also requires a managed transition away from Assad and to a new leader. And an inclusive government that recognizes there must be an end to this chaos so that the Syrian people can begin to rebuild. We know that ISIL, which emerged out of the chaos of Iraq and Syria, depends on perpetual war to survive. But we also know that they gain adherents because of a poisonous ideology. So part of our job, together, is to work to reject such extremism that infects too many of our young people. Part of that effort must be a continued rejection by Muslims of those who distort Islam to preach intolerance and promote violence. And it must also a rejection by non-Muslims of the ignorance that equates Islam with terror. This work will take time. There are no easy answers to Syria. And there are no simple answers to the changes that are taking place in much of the Middle East and North Africa. But so many families need help right now, they don't have time. And that's why the United States is increasing the number of refugees who we welcome within our borders. That's why we will continue to be the largest donor of assistance to support those refugees. And today we are launching new efforts to ensure that our people and our businesses our universities and our NGOs can help as well, because in the faces of suffering families, our nation of immigrants sees ourselves. Of course, in the old ways of thinking, the plight of the powerless. The plight of refugees, the plight of the marginalized did not matter. They were on the periphery of the world's concerns. Today, our concern for them is driven not just by conscience, but should also be driven by self-interest. For helping people who have been pushed to the margins of our world is not mere charity, it is a matter of collective security. And the purpose of this institution is not merely to avoid conflict. It is to galvanize the collective action that makes life better on this planet. The commitments we've made to the Sustainable Development Goals speak to this truth. I believe that capitalism has been the greatest creator of wealth and opportunity that the world has ever known. But from big cities to rural villages around the world, we also know that prosperity is still cruelly out of reach for too many. As His Holiness Pope Francis reminds us, we are stronger when we value the least among these. And see them as equal in dignity to ourselves and our sons and our daughters. We can roll back preventable disease and end the scourge of HIV/AIDS. We can stamp out pandemics that recognize no borders. That work may not be on television right now. But as we demonstrated in reversing the spread of Ebola, it can save more lives than anything else we can do. Together, we can eradicate extreme poverty and erase barriers to opportunity. But this requires a sustained commitment to our people so farmers can feed more people. So entrepreneurs can start a business without paying a bribe. So young people have the skills they need to succeed in this modern, knowledge-based economy. We can promote growth through trade that meets a higher standard. And that's what we're. Doing through the Trans-Pacific Partnership, a trade agreement that encompasses nearly 40% of the global economy. An agreement that will open markets. While protecting the rights of workers and protecting the environment that enables development to be sustained. We can roll back the pollution that we put in our skies. And help economies lift people out of poverty without condemning our children to the ravages of an ever-warming climate. The same ingenuity that produced the industrial age and the computer age allows us to harness the potential of clean energy. No country can escape the ravages of climate change. And there is no stronger sign of leadership than putting future generations first. The United States will work with every nation that is willing to do its part. So that we can come together in Paris to decisively confront this challenge. And finally, our vision for the future of this assembly, my belief in moving forward rather than backwards. Requires us to defend the democratic principles that allow societies to succeed. Let me start from a simple premise: catastrophes, like what we are seeing in Syria. Do not take place in countries where there is genuine democracy and respect for the universal values this institution is supposed to defend. I recognize that democracy is going to take different forms in different parts of the world. The very idea of a people governing themselves depends upon government giving expression to their unique culture. Their unique history, their unique experiences. But some universal truths are self-evident. No person wants to be imprisoned for peaceful worship. No woman should ever be abused with impunity, or a girl barred from going to school. The freedom to peacefully petition those in power without fear of arbitrary laws. These are not ideas of one country or one culture. They are fundamental to human progress. They are a cornerstone of this institution. I realize that in many parts of the world there is a different view, a belief that strong leadership must tolerate no dissent. I hear it not only from America's adversaries, but privately at least I also hear it from some of our friends. I disagree. I believe a government that suppresses peaceful dissent is not showing strength. It is showing weakness and it is showing fear. History shows that regimes who fear their own people will eventually crumble. But strong institutions built on the consent of the governed endure long after any one individual is gone. That's why our strongest leaders from George Washington to Nelson Mandela have elevated the importance of building strong, Democratic institutions over a thirst for perpetual power. Leaders who amend constitutions to stay in office only acknowledge that they failed. To build a successful country for their people, because none of us last forever. It tells us that power is something they cling to for its own sake. Rather than for the betterment of those they purport to serve. I understand democracy is frustrating. Democracy in the United States is certainly imperfect. At times, it can even be dysfunctional. But democracy, the constant struggle to extend rights to more of our people. To give more people a voice is what allowed us to become the most powerful nation in the world. It's not simply a matter of principle, it's not an abstraction. Democracy, inclusive democracy, makes countries stronger. When opposition parties can seek power peacefully through the ballot, a country draws upon new ideas. When a free media can inform the public, corruption and abuse are exposed and can be rooted out. When civil society thrives, communities can solve problems that governments cannot necessarily solve alone. When immigrants are welcomed, countries are more productive and more vibrant. When girls can go to school, and get a job, and pursue unlimited opportunity. That's when a country realizes its full potential. That is what I believe is America's greatest strength. Not everybody in America agrees with me. That's part of democracy. I believe that the fact that you can walk, The streets of this city right now and past churches and synagogues and temples and mosques, where people worship freely. The fact that our nation of immigrants mirrors the diversity of the world. You can find everybody. From everywhere here in New York City. The fact that, in this country, everybody can contribute. Everybody can participate no matter who they are, or what they look like, or who they love. That's what makes us strong.